So what you're looking at here is a homestead that was first established in the 1860s. And it could have been even the 1840s, but let's just say it's the 1860s. And of course it's been redone a couple of times and updated a few times. But it's basically on the same land, and it's the same square footage and everything that it was 150 years ago. So how I come upon this place is I just happened to meet a lady who purchased this homestead about 4 years ago, and she tried to make a go of it. She has absolutely no experience. The only thing she really had was a dream, and she just bit off more than she could chew. And so after a couple of years she just basically gave up, and now it's been sitting here growing back to weed. It's a very common tale to start something and then, everything, you realize that it's just more than you can handle financially and physically. But she did try to do quite a bit of stuff. For example, we can take a tour down into the cellar. I don't know how the lighting's going to be, but I guess I can here to show you. This cellar is 20 degrees, 25 degrees cooler than the outside. You can see a lot of the pecan tree nuts have been brought in here. I've done a lot of sweeping. There was, in some spots, a couple of inches of leaves and nuts from the rodents that had brought it all in here. The place was totally infested with rodents. At one time, I guess it set a while, and I don't know if you can see some of the termite damage. It seems to have been treated subsequently, and the structure is basically sound, but it still had some damage. And any time that you want to get involved in an older homestead, oh look, we have a visitor right here. I've taken out a couple of snakes already from this building. Let's see if we can get him to move. There he goes. Well, he's about 6, 7. Let me include the very tip of his tail, about 8 inches. Always have, if you're ever trying to remodel or get involved in one of these old homesteads, you have to think about that. Now, somebody has done a lot of repair on the concrete, and it's good because this basement here, you could have some kind of root cellar, and I'm sure that's what they had. These old-fashioned recessed windows that go up, that's very old school. And you're talking, my great-grandmother had these type of windows, and that's what regulates the humidity and the temperature down here. Somebody blocked off one, but there's still 2 here, and there's enough to regulate everything. This is very important. Somebody's updated the hot water, and she put in, tried to put in electric, and if you go throughout the house, you can see it's basically unfinished. So, looking at a homestead, I think having a basement like that is very, very important. And take a look at the concrete. Not the concrete, but the cinder block wall, and then the dirt that insulates that. There's a good 5, almost 6 feet of dirt acting as an insulation around the entire homestead house. Somebody knew what they were doing Because back in the day, you didn't have refrigeration. You had water, and you notice there wasn't any leakage in there, even though there's a water that comes. I'll show you that in a second. There's water that comes right through here, and if you cleaned out the ditch, you could get it to flow, as much as you want. So that's one factor in keeping things cool. So let's take a peek in here. Sorry for the poor camera work, but I'm doing this on a budget. So this is a room. It has a very low ceiling, maybe about 7 feet, and it's much cooler in here. And as you can see, the lady who had this, she was trying to update it. There's dust all over these tools. Some of the tools are not even, like this rigid is not even been taken out of the box. In my estimation, these tools have just been sitting here maybe a year or two at least. There is a very old school gas stove. That's old fashioned. At one time it was probably a wood stove in here, and somebody modernized it and put in the gas stove. I'm sure it still works. Here's the bathroom, what's left of it. The tub has been torn out. There's been a lot of work that's been started. This is really typical. I find a lot of this, as a farmer, a person that's been in this business for years, look at all the cobwebs coming in here. I mean, nobody's been using this place. And this is typical. You get people that will buy one of these and they'll start and they just can't finish it. But this place has potential, let me tell you. It has water. It has an excellent location as far as a 4-season climate. If I was to choose a place to homestead, it would be just a property just like this, because it has everything you need. She paid a lot of money initially. She had some horses here, and she paid a fence company to come in and put in a fence for her. This is like an old, just a very small barn to keep animals in. Give it a shot here. Like I said, she started to pay quite a bit of money. This looks like to be an old chicken coop. The roof looks still in really good shape. It doesn't look like it's leaking. Wouldn't take long to muck this barn out, clean this chicken coop up, and start putting some stock in here. This thing looks pretty old. Spoiled. Garbage cans don't look like they've been used in years. I'll just take you a walk out here and show you the water supply. In my opinion, the number one issue for any of you watching this video, if you don't remember anything else, remember to get you a good water supply. Now looky here. Now that's a water supply. A person can feed gravity fed, because this slopes downhill ever so slightly. Downhill. All the way out into the fields. And to top it off, this property has the old ditches, the old Akias right in it. I mean, they're all, let me see if I can show you one. I started to clean out this old sumac because it was impinging all on the electric line coming to the homestead. But that right there, you can't really see it because it's so overgrown. But that was an old ditch and a Kia. And this property is just honeycombed with them. Here's another little interesting amenity of this property. Here's an old root cellar. Take you down in here. Better take me a stick. I've cleaned a couple of snakes out of here too. And I haven't been here long. Take a look at this. All built. You see the walls were built by hand. But subsequently the termites have got it. It's just all fallen into disrepair. But it's here. It just needs to be, you have elbow grease, some backbreaking labor, take all this stuff out, clean it all up, shovel in the dirt that's fallen. Somebody started to even put a top back on this, I think it was her, and gave up. This is another problem I find, consulting with people who want to start a homestead. They get involved in all these projects and they never finish one. I haven't found one project that was finished on this place, except for maybe this very expensive horse corral. And I've never spent money with the fence company in my life, but I'm sure the fence company who put this in got a pretty penny for it. But it's really the only project, and now the sumac is all growing up and she doesn't have her horses anymore. So here's another project. I cleaned all this out just to see what was here. The sumac, old buildings, some outbuildings. And okay, let's take a closer look at the Ikea if we can. I mean, this is like a jungle in here. It's hard to see, but that is a ditch. And it runs all the way down the entire length of the property. This video is getting kind of long, so I'll just walk you down to the property, the fields portion of the property. So you can't see it, but it goes well beyond sight down to a river. And it's all irrigated land, irrigation rights. This lady has asked me if I would be interested in coming here and doing something with this place. And I'm seriously considering it. I'm doing some initial work now to see what is here, and when I make a decision whether I want to bring this homestead back to life, back to being a profitable homestead, I'll make that decision, and if I do, I'll post some videos and hopefully you all can benefit from that. Until next time, this is Guide Prepper. We'll talk to you later.